Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the 504 Core Podcast. Been a while, a lot has happened. NBA free agency of the draft, New Orleans Pelicans. It's gonna be an all Pels pod for those who are listening. Let's start with the big trade, and we can talk about the draft pick and then potentially trading BI. The first thing, the New Orleans Pelicans trade Larry Nance, Dyson Daniels, EJ Liddell, two first, the Lakers pick from next year, and in the least favorable top four protected, the Bucks pick in 2027 to get point guard the Dejounte Murray, um, former All Star, averages I believe like what 22, 5 and 6. Used to be a good defensive player, struggled in Atlanta, but it was first team all defense a couple of years ago. I love it. He's a guy who's Mike only getting 25 million. He's a top 30 player in the NBA. He's consistent. He gets you that 22, 5 and 6 on 46% shooting. I think he's going to be way better defensively, guarding point guards instead of shooting guards. The big question for me now is what do you do at center?
Yeah, I guess we'll just dissect the trade piece by piece here. You forgot about Cody Zeller sign and trade. And, losing that guy
Oh,
is going to be tough. He gave
yeah.
you good minutes here and there, but yeah, no, we've been calling for a Dejounte Murray trade for a while. There were rumors about Trae Young saying he if he were to be traded, that would be the team he'd want to go to. And Twitter blew up, and people were having all these crazy takes. Give the house to for Trae Young and all this other nonsense. And then Bobby Marks goes on ESPN. Lo and behold, what does he say? Oh, with this new CBA, you have to be really careful with the contracts you take on and see. There's virtually very little market for Trae Young. Dejounte Murray has more trade value than Trae Young. So that happened, and I think like 48 hours later, you see a trade for Dejounte Murray. Like you said, he's on a pretty good contract. I mean, if you were to say $25 million, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, that's a pretty big contract. But the salary cap's going up. $25 million is really reasonable. The extension he signed last offseason or offseason before that, whatever it was, it's about to kick in. So you basically have him for 3 years, and then that fourth year, I think, is a player option, which I'm sure he'll decline and get more money. So you basically have 3 years with them. Kind of see what happens. He was, like you said, all defensive guard with San Antonio, goes to Atlanta. One of the reasons I think he struggled or took a step back, rather, is he's playing next to Trae Young. Trae Young is notoriously one of the worst defenders in the entire NBA. So, if you play next to a poor defender and you have to guard guys out of position, constantly getting switched on and all that other stuff, of course you're going to take a step back. So, I think he'll fit in really nicely. Um, did you want to say something? I have a lot more. I have a lot to say about it.
I just want to make a couple quick points while you were talking about him. He is the 50th highest paid player in the NBA next season. The guys in front of him, just in front of him, are Jordan Poole, Jeremy Grant, Drew Holiday, Chris Paul, Emmanuel Quickly, Chris Middleton, CJ McCollum, DeAndre Ayton. I think he's better than all those players.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. One segue you could take away from that is there. People were blowing up stats with Murray whenever Trae Young was out with that. I think he had a hand injury, a wrist injury, something like that. He averaged 25 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds in 35 games for the Hawks without Trae Young in his career. So, if you can get anywhere near that production, that would just be incredible. You're going to play next to probably Herb Jones, and you've seen what Herb can do. He's gonna be playing, and that was him playing next to CJ McCollum, who's not the best defender. So you put him and Murray together. I think that forms a really tangible duo. Um,
Played a lot of games the last 2 years.
wait, what?
74 and 78. He's played
Oh, Murray.
74,
Yeah,
78 games the last 2 years.
yeah. No, I'm really excited. He's kind of a bigger guard. I think he's like 6'5". So I think he'll fit in well. we also gave up Dyson Daniels. I'm really high on Dyson Daniels. A lot of people don't like Dyson Daniels because he can't shoot at times, but there were stretches last year where you could really see what he could become. He's only 21 years old or 22, so a lot of room for growth. I mean, you see it all the time. Like teams give up on guys in their early 20s, and then they kind of blossom down the road. Like Lauri Markkanen's a good example. We can get to him down the line, but we see it all the time. I think Atlanta's probably high on him. I think he'd be a good running mate next to Trae Young. You lose Larry Nance. Larry Nance was I always liked Larry Nance, but he struggled at times last year. I think they relied on him.
Turnovers.
They tried to they relied on him way more than what they should have. They didn't really have a backup big. They asked him to do a lot of stuff he probably wasn't really well equipped to do. Um, I think losing him will actually, he seemed like he a great teammate. He did a lot in the New Orleans community, which is always appreciated. Um, you know, I think losing to those two guys, I think long term Dyson might sting a little. You might see Dyson's break out a little bit in a year or two, but Larry Nance, good role player, and then losing. I love how they protected the top 4 pick. Do you know what that even means? I had to look that up because I was like least favorable. So that means if like both teams are in the top 4, then it's protected.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like I think Atlanta. I think that's crazy that like Griffin even asked that. Like I don't know, but that's kind of cool. I guess if things just go horribly wrong, you get 2 top 4 picks. But I don't think that would be the case. I think the Bucks have potential to implode. I mean, they haven't really signed anyone. They're getting older. Seems like they're kind of there's rumors that they want to trade Brooke Lopez and all that. But anyway, yeah. So gave up those 2 guys. I'm really worried about the Lakers pick. Everyone's the whole. I'm the only person that said it. I swear. Like this Laker pick, it could easily be a top 5 pick, and if it ends up being Cooper Flag, then Cooper that number 1 pick is worth way more than Dejounte Murray alone. So there is a looming disaster with that. Lakers were healthy all last year and they barely made the playoffs. So that they haven't gotten better. The whole Lakers thing is kind of becoming a joke. You got a rookie head coach. All they talk about is Bronny, who averaged 2 points in college, shot like 23% from the field. That's the whole Lakers offseason right now. They haven't made any move. They're like one of the only teams that haven't made a trade or free agent signing. So I think this trade long term. Everyone's saying the Pelicans won, but long term it could end up being a major disaster, even as good as Dejounte Murray is. And I'm a big fan, but that's like one thing I'm just really have a big pause on. But yeah, no, I would still do it, but that's just the only thing that's looming in my head. I know I just said a lot. What you got?
Just going back onto Murray, they talk about his 3-point shooting ability, not great, but 36%. And he made 201 threes a season ago. He plays games. He's consistent. He's been a 47% field goal percent shooter in the NBA for a while now. He averaged 22 points a game last year. But just talk about that Lakers pick. You have LeBron, dude. You have AD.
Yeah, but
They,
LeBron's 50 years old at this point. Like,
yeah, but he's
and
still not 20.
What does AD stand for? Always dinged. He's always hurt. So he could be
Right?
out. He could be out for 10, 20 game splits, and the Western
Yeah.
Conference. I mean, look what the Kings just did. They just added DeMar DeRozan,
All right. All
and
right, Mike.
same conference.
I got something for you.
All right.
All right. I'm going to go down the list of teams in the Western Conference, and I want you to tell me if this team is better or worse than the Lakers right now. The Portland Trail Blazers.
Starting off hot, no. But Portland did
Spurs.
wait. Portland did get better though. Portland did get better. They added Danny Avdia. He's a solid player. Scoot Henderson's going to take the next step, dude. I'm not saying they're better than the Lakers, but I'm just saying they are a better team. Keep going.
I think they're going to be the second worst team in the West next year.
But they've
The
gotten better.
Spurs. The Spurs.
Spurs could be.
No.
Dude,
The Jazz.
Victor Wembanyama is going to be a top 5 guy by the time the NBA's.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but I don't think they're going to be anything. The Jazz.
No.
I actually think the Clippers have declined a lot.
The Clippers definitely did, yeah.
The Grizzlies, the Rockets.
Yes. Rockets will take a step. Yes, Grizzlies, yes.
You think the Rockets will be better than the
Rockets have
Lakers?
a ton of talent. If you actually look at the Rockets team, like they have
They got a ton. I agree. But do
and
they have any
they're kind of
stars?
the Rockets are kind of one of those teams that are looming
All
too.
right.
Like they can make a
The
move. So,
Pistons. What's going to East too? The Pistons.
oh, you just said the West. You
No.
just
We're
said
doing
all
all
the
the
main
teams.
teams.
The
Okay,
Pistons.
Pistons. No, come on,
Wizards.
no.
Hornets.
Hornets will take a step up, but still no,
Nets.
absolutely not.
Hawks.
No,
Raptors.
no,
Bulls.
no.
That's 12 teams right now that the Lakers are clearly better than. So
Oh,
at
you just
best,
named what it was like 8 out of the 12 are in the East. So that
at best,
you got
at
you got to
best.
you got to look at who what division they're playing in, what conference, and all that. I mean, okay. If LeBron or AD goes down, where do the Lakers rank? I mean, you could name 4 out of those 12. You can make a real argument that are better than the Lakers.
You're counting a lot on injuries.
I mean, is LeBron been fully healthy other than last year in the past like 5 or 6 years? No. Is AD does AD really have a good track record? I mean, come on. He's missed at least 20 to 30 games every single year. Easy. So like these games add up, especially in the West. Like you saw how close the West was every single game last year. Like, but what was the difference between like the second seed and like the eighth seed? It was like maybe 2 games. So like you slip up 2 games, you could be towards the bottom. So it's not inconceivable. I'm just saying, dude, like this could turn in an instant. Like I might bookmark this and just be like, Pelicans fans are like rejoicing, but one injury, 20 games out, they go down, the West eats you up. Like it could be a disaster. So I don't know. You never know. We got Zion with the eighth best odds or seventh best odds, and it's not inconceivable. That's all I'm saying.
All right, I got one for you, Mike. Brandon Ingram.
I know.
What do you do with him?
Did you okay? The point everyone's like, oh, they're trying to re-sign him. Okay, that's cool. I get that, but who's going to be our center? Missy, and who's our backup center? Zion. I mean, you have to go get a center, and they have no cap space to sign anyone. So the only way to do that's via trade. So it's just the Pelicans doing this whole like we're a family thing. We're going to try and re-sign them. So all this other stuff. You trade them, but the problem is I don't know where the trade is. I told you we could go through every single team if you want. The biggest teams to me are Portland. Uh,
I keep seeing Cleveland pop up. I know they're not going to, they said they wouldn't trade Allen, but now I'm seeing that they potentially could change their mind on that.
is that the latest rumor now?
Yeah, it's like Griffin and I forgot the Cavs general manager's name had they're kind of like staring at each other, apparently.
With the Cleveland and
The Pelicans.
that's the latest rumor. I didn't know that. Every rumor I see is Kenny Atkinson wants to keep Jared
No,
Allen.
that's the thing. Kenny Atkinson wants to keep it, but it's just like a tricky situation in that apparently they also want Brandon Ingram. So it's just kind of
Well,
strict.
who's more valuable? That's the question. And I would say Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Brandon Ingram wants to get paid, so that kind of almost makes them even. I'm not sure. I don't know what the trade is. I was if Jared Allen's viable, there's been rumors of the Pelicans wanting Jared Allen the past like year and a half, so I would not be surprised with that. The Portland has 3 starting caliber centers. They just drafted Klingon, so they got Klingon, Robert Williams, who's from Louisiana. I think he's from like the Shreveport area. It'd be kind of a homecoming, I guess, but he's never healthy, so you could put him, and then I know I saw Anthony Simons probably once out. I really like Anthony Simons. He's a terrible defender, but he can light it up. He's young. I think he's going to get better. You could probably package them too for BI. I don't know if they put draft picks together or not. Also in the trade machine, you could do DeAndre Ayton for Brandon Ingram. The salaries match up, just a clean swap. I think Brandon Ingram is better than DeAndre Ayton, but the salaries do match up. Portland sends some kind of pick or whatever. There are trades to be made with Portland. I know Griffin's always had an affinity for Scoot Henderson, but I don't think they're going to want to trade Scoot Henderson. And then we just picked up Murray, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to trade for Scoot and then not give him a starting nod.
Aiden has the same problems as Brandon Ingram. He can't stay healthy. I mean,
Yeah,
the last 3 years, he's averaged 17, 18, and 16. He's not great at blocking shots. He's a great rebounder. He could score, good rebounder. I think he's a little bit of an upgrade defensively over Jonas, but not significantly.
no, he's a better player than Jonas, but then again, he gets paid more than Jonas. I mean, obviously, but yeah, no, I've never been the biggest Aiton guy, but is he a viable starting center? Yes. Is he young? Yes. Does the trade work out? Yes. I just don't see a path where the Pelicans are going to be like, let's extend them, because the obvious move is to elevate Trey Murphy, right? So it's pretty hard to elevate Trey Murphy when you're bringing back Brandon Ingram, and then you bring back Brandon Ingram. Who's your starting center? Like the only center you have on the roster right now is Eve Missy, your draft pick, and he
Yeah, the
wasn't.
Baylor.
Yeah, I mean he's not ready. I mean ideally he's your third guy. I know they were looking at Daniel Tice, but I mean come on, like that's not a guy who should be playing 30 plus minutes a night. I mean, ideally, you'd sign like Tice to be a backup role, and then you bring along Missy as your third guy, and then you try and find the first.
Aiden has 2 years. Aiden has 2 years left on his deal, 34, then 35 million.
Yeah, I don't know, unless you just want to go try and get Karl Anthony Towns, but does Minnesota want to do that? Do they want to break up what they have? Like, I don't think so. There's really no like obvious answer. I mean, that I know they were
I
talking
know. I
about.
have an obvious answer. I would go all in. You went all. You kind of already started it. At this point, if you're getting rid of Brandon Ingram, you got 3 years to make it work cap wise, right? With Murray, Ingram, potentially Herb Jones, and Trey Murphy. So with that, you can go and get Laurie Marketing. And the Jazz have dangled him. He's a guy who is 7 feet tall. He shoots 49% from the floor. He is 40% 3 point. He's a unicorn. 40%, 8 rebounds, 23 points a game. He actually, defensively, he's not great. But I mean, offensively, he'd be a juggernaut with him. I
So
would go. I would do
what
multiple firsts for him.
what
Brandon
is that?
Ingram multiple.
So what does that trade look like? Well, you said
You'd
throw
have to go a
Brandon.
three-team trade. So potentially you ship Brandon Ingram to Houston, and then you get like a Jalen Green, draft picks, um, Jabari Parker, and you ship a lot of those same draft picks you get. You say you get like 2 draft picks, and then you ship 4 of your own or 2 of your own and Jabari Parker to Utah, and
Jabari Smith.
Jabari Smith. I don't know why I keep saying Parker. Jabari Smith to Utah, and you go get Laurie Marketing and then potentially Walker Kessler too. You make it a combo. You add another first for Walker Kessler.
Wait. So Houston's shipping Jabari Smith and Jalen Green.
Yeah. Hold
They
on.
would. They wouldn't do that.
Hold on.
I think
Hold on.
Houston. I think Houston would ship. Houston's kind of in a spot where it seems like they don't want to pay Şengün, so they're kind of in the point where it's like, do you choose Jalen Green or Şengün? So I think
Uh-huh.
it'd be one of those two. Jabari Smith's always an interesting one. I would assume out of those three, I don't know what Houston's thinking, but Houston has a lot of like good young. They're kind of like the Pels, like they have a lot of good young assets. Do they all fit together? I'm not sure. They did play better when Şengün went out last year with injury, so I don't know. I don't know what Houston's doing. Laurie, I don't know what the market is for Laurie. Like, is it 4? I mean,
It's high.
Mikal Bridges threw everything in a loop. I mean, the Knicks overpaid so much for that dude. 5 first rounds is ridiculous, but for a non All Star guy, I just don't know. I mean, Griffin has a plan, but I just think like the market. I don't know, like the team that's like clamoring for Brandon Ingram at the moment. Like, there's no obvious team. Like it was the Kings, but now they pivoted away from that because they just got DeRozan. So
His stock's so low because of what we saw in the playoffs, and it's the same thing. He's a ball stopper.
I mean, if Ingram was making $40 million a year, I think his value would be right where it was last year. Honestly, I'm telling you, it just seems like every insider or any like NBA guy like I listen to on podcast, Twitter, whatever it may be, they all say the same thing. It's like this new CBA, you just have you can't be in these aprons. If you're in the second apron, like you're screwed. Like you're just kind of hard capped. You can't trade picks down the line. You just really kind of screw yourself, and the tax is really bad for owners. That's another thing. Is like Gail Benson ever want to pay the tax? You know, she's worth $6 billion. There's no indication from anything I've read that she's willing to do that. So I don't know, man. I don't know. The Pelicans are just in a kind of weird spot. But
Well,
yeah,
like
just to say you're not going to trade Ingram is insane to me.
I don't. They're not. I don't. I think you're gonna potentially trade Ingram. I think you're waiting for a good offer though.
But like I don't know like what team is going to offer the max for Brandon Ingram. Like,
I
bro,
don't think anybody is.
it'd be kind of insane. I mean, he's a good
He's not a
player.
max player.
No, he's like he's like on that borderline like max player guy. But if you were to say like last year, they should have traded him last year. And I said this last year. I said the team doesn't really. I don't think Ingram and Zion really play well together. Or
Uh-huh.
I always said the 2 out of those 3 guys, McCollum, Ingram, and Zion, play well. All 3 of them do not play well together at all. But like when you have a combo of McCollum and Ingram, they look good. When you have McCollum and Zion, they look good. When McCollum's out with that lung thing, you know, when they had Ingram and Zion, they're playing well. But you can't have 3 ball dominant guys. It just doesn't work. And then they all want to be max guys. I mean, I know CJ's on a $32 million contract, but I just don't know. There's just no obvious answers, and that's kind of where they're at. But I mean, what do you predict's going to happen?
Jared Allen.
Oh, you just think it's going to be like Levert and Allen, or Strus and Allen,
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah. A combo.
It's just like
What I want to happen, like I dream of Laurie Marketing and Walker Kessler. I think that would be perfect. Um,
I just
move
don't know why
Zion
Utah would do that. Like,
because Utah is just looking to get assets. They're not going to win right now.
but Ainge just kind of had like I don't know. Ainge is kind of a wild card.
He
Like,
is, but I think he just wants assets. He knows he's not going to win right now. I know he's got job security. Another guy for a Pelican center I saw yesterday was Nikola Vucevic with the Bulls, who's
that dude,
literally a better version of Jonas Valanciunas. He only makes 20 million. But he's a what 20? He averaged 18, 10 on 50% shooting last year.
he's just like Jonas in the fact like he doesn't play defense, but he'll shoot more threes. He's not going to be like this like interior guy, but
Uh,
that kind of player, like if you'd done this 2 years ago, yeah, for sure. But he's not the kind of guy that's going to be your long term answer. Like Jared
uh,
Allen is a long term answer. There's just if you were to ask me like Nick Claxton, I thought, but they just re-signed him, and they seem pretty high on Nick Claxton, the Nets. So I don't know, man. It's just I keep refreshing Twitter like every 5 minutes. I'm just like waiting for a Woj bomb, and it just hasn't come. So all I see is this like pandering from the Pelicans saying, "Oh, we want to extend them." It's just like, how do you not know by now? This is my number. Are you gonna meet it? No. Okay, trade me then. Oh, Brandon's in the gym, not picking up his phone. Dude, that's total horseshit. Like, come on. Like, if someone's offering you $180 million, you're not going to answer your phone. Like, give me a break. Like this the way we treat these guys sometimes is just completely ridiculous. I don't know. The Pelicans must have a plan because I don't know. There's not really any leaks coming from anywhere either. Like the Dejounte Murray thing came out of nowhere. I mean, you kind of heard about it earlier in the year. You heard about it last year, but they weren't like Pelicans are after this, and then next thing you know, you get a Woj bomb. So I don't know, man, but it is exciting. That's all. That's all I will say.
Like you keep saying, it's just a lot of like what's going to happen.
Yeah. Um. Any other major NBA stuff? I'm trying to think. Are the Kings contenders after the DeRozan trade?
No, they're terrible defensively.
Sabonis, yeah.
Dude, you
I,
got Keegan Murray, Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, De'Aaron Fox, and Malik Monk. That's the best offensive lineup in the league. But you might score 120, but you're giving up 118. You're going to lose a lot of games just because of how bad your defense
they're
is.
literally LSU football last year. Yeah. What about the Warriors? What are they? Are the Warriors a sleeper
Oh,
team?
there you go. That's another team I forgot to mention. Warriors. Um, Lakers are better than the Warriors, but I think the Warriors aren't going to make the plan.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know. I just think there's like 4 or 5 teams that are just kind of like just waiting or like they're gonna make some kind of move. I mean, I think the Warriors are at the point where it's like if you don't make a move, like you might start seeing like weird I mean, I don't know, man. It just the NBA is just so fluid. Like if you think about like how crazy it is. When did the Bulls start making all those trades? Like 3 years ago?
Yeah, yeah.
When they got
Uh,
Vucevic and they
that
got
that was like
Lonzo.
2021.
Yeah, dude, think about how much like just nonsense has happened in the last 3 years.
Yeah, a lot.
Dude, like if you watch games that were played in 2022, like bro, 90% of all those rosters are on completely different 90% of the players on those rosters are on completely different teams. Like the league is just so fluid. That's why like I was kind of in favor for like trying to get a Sacramento thing going. You could get like a 2027 first, a swap in 28 and then a 29 first if that was like even offered. But something like that, like just the NBA is so fluid with how things move. That's why I'm so excited about the Bucks because like outside of Giannis, like they don't have anyone long term that's really promising in my opinion. So
Yeah,
they're like the oldest roster in the NBA. They're not making any moves now. Like they don't have any like young rookies or any players that are just standing out. So I don't know. I guess just the moral of the story is just strike while the iron's hot. And if you're the Pels, just do it now rather than just keep waiting. So at some point, you got to go all in, right? Like this franchise is never going all in, but
I would do it right now though.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but like, who is that person? And it's just
Lori
there's no.
marketing, Lori marketing, Michael.
But if you get Laurie Markin, you got to get Kessler because Laurie Markin's not center, dude.
I agree. That's what I said. You just do both of them. That's my trade. That's my trade. You would have Murray. You probably have Herb Jones starting the two. Move Zion to three. Lori four. And then you have Kessler five. Trey Murphy, first guy off your bench, right? You move Lori probably to the five, and you add Trey Murphy in there, and then dude, the shooting with Zion and Murray would be incredible. And then you got CJ McCollum coming off your bench as well. That
Yeah.
team's loaded. Loaded.
No, it is. I mean, I don't know. Because you got to pay marketing too.
Yeah, he makes 18 million right now.
Yeah, but then he's a free. I think it's the last year on that, right?
See?
I'm pretty sure.
I'll tell you right now.
I'm like 90% sure.
All right. Is the price right? The price is correct. He's an unrestricted free agent next year.
That's dangerous because he's going to get the max. You're not going to give up 4 first-round picks or whatever the hell you're going to give up and then not give him a max. That'd be insane.
Yep.
So Zion's a max. Laurie's a max. Trey Murphy's going to be making 30-ish, 35. I don't even know what the hell he's going to make. What's
I
he
mean,
going
but
to make?
you have 25, 25 with Trey Murphy, 25, 25, and then Herb Jones has the best contract in
Still,
the NBA.
still got McCollum just looming there, making 30.
Well, that's the guy you get rid of after you keep McCollum this year, and then you just get rid of him for a bag of chips next year.
It's a
And then you
salary
hope,
dump.
and you hope Jordan Hawkins is ready to take over that role.
Is Detroit a sleeper team for Brandon Ingram?
Yeah, but who would you get that would make a difference with this
Well,
team?
Duran and Stewart.
That would make a difference with this team right now.
Well, it gives you a center. Like
I think Aiton is a better option than both those guys, and I think any of the guys, Jared Allen, any of those guys we named, are better options.
who's their back? They don't even have a backup 4 either. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah.
I really like Preston
Oh, come on, man. Earl Jones or whatever.
JRE,
Yeah.
Jeremiah Robinson Earl.
Whatever.
Yeah, they need they've lost what? Jonas, Najee, Dyson, Nance. Did they lose anyone else outside of that? That's 4. That's 4 key rotation guys. Huh?
Cody
Zeller.
Zeller.
How could I forget? So you got 5 guys. So really 4 guys. I mean, 4 like really like guys who've been getting big minutes. Um, I'm I'm really high on Jordan Hawkins too. I think he's gonna start getting minutes now. Well, at least I hope so.
And we haven't talked about Mr. Puerto Rico, who just beat DeAndre Ayton, Buddy Hield, and Eric Gordon by himself with a bunch of bums to go into the Olympics. Shout
Wait,
out to Jose Alvarado.
who did he beat?
He beat the Bahamas, I believe, who had DeAndre Ayton, Buddy Hield, and Eric Gordon. And Puerto Rico had Mailman.
I didn't even know Ayton was
From the Bahamas, yeah.
no idea.
He was balling now, I will say that, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. Jose's gonna Jose. I don't know what else to say. Like fan favorite. That's another thing. They could use a backup point guard. I mean, Jose's a good backup point guard, but there were times that he didn't even get minutes because just bad. He's a bad matchup for like a third of the league. Can't even play him a third of the time.
What about Miami?
What's that trade look like?
See.
I know they're mentioning Charlotte too, but like, I I don't know if they got like big trade exceptions where they can like absorb salaries or not. But they just re-signed Bridges.
Jovic. I mean, Jovic. Nikola Jovic.
Yeah, I
I'm
wish we
trying.
could. They don't have any bigs, dude. The only big they have is Bam, and they're not going to trade Bam. They just signed him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's just no obvious team that just stands out.
They're going to
I mean,
sign Omer Asher.
Turkish Hammer, baby. I mean, is Miles Turner really that viable, but I don't know why Indiana would want to do that. Indiana can't even do that because if Brandon Ingram wants a max, you can't pay 3 max guys anymore. So that's what I'm saying, dude. This new NBA is just a completely different animal. I mean, you could do it kind of like what the 76ers did, just have 3 max guys and then pay the tax and then just build on the fringes. But the NBA, like the NBA these days, dude, it's just too deep for that. Like you can't be doing that. Like Daryl Morey's model has always been like 3 players, but like you can't just have 3 guys. Like you have to have depth. Like, and I think that's been proven the you know, past few championships. I mean, the big 3 model is dead in my opinion, unless you just have like a really, really good bench. But like you have to rely on 9 guys in the playoffs. So 8 guys, whatever the number is. Can't just rely on 3. Like there's no Mario Chalmers like kind of guys. Like you have to have really good guys. I don't know.
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got too. All right. Well, if there's no trade, I guess just final predictions. If a trade does happen in the next by the time we do a podcast.
Well, I kind of already said it,
Jared
but
Allen,
yeah, but you know what? Screw it. Give me Laurie marketing. Let me dream. Let me dream.
let a little boy dream.
Let me dream.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm gonna go Portland. I think we'll go
Like, and I
8.
wouldn't hate Aiden.
I don't like Aiton. I've never been a big Aiton guy, but if he would fit in with this team, just considering like the star status of what he is. Like he's not the first 3 best players on a finals team. That's how I always like to break it down. It's like, is this guy good enough to be a number 1 on a finals team? Is this guy good enough to be a number 2, 3, 4 down the line? So I think Aiton could be a 4, maybe a 5 on a
Yeah,
championship team.
dude, I think Trey Murphy would be better than him, and
Trey
then
Murphy
maybe
has
the
potential to be a 2 or 3 for sure, but right now he's probably like a 4 or 5. Just like that's what I'm saying. Like this whole, you have to. I've already said it, but you have to trade Ingram just to elevate Murphy. So it's as simple as that. But yeah, we'll wrap it up on that. I'm going Blazers. Corey's going Jared Allen. We'll see. So
Give me Jazz.
yeah, all right. Or Lori, sorry, but yeah, if you guys can
Early.
like and subscribe, we'd really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys soon. So.